Once you've had your food, you better make yourself scarce.
By November, food becomes too scarce. Quadma
More scarce about the weather than any devil.
Everyone, and welcome back to Talk Word. This is the explainer where we dive deep into the meaning, the origin, and the real-world usage of everyday English words. Today, we're unpacking a really powerful concept, the essence of scarcity. We're going to define exactly what rare value means, and we're tailoring the whole thing specifically for English learners. So, let's jump right in.
To start off, let's think about a very common communication problem. Imagine you're trying to tell a friend about this specific item. Maybe it's a vintage watch, a super rare type of fruit, or honestly, just finding a quiet place in a crowded city. It's incredibly hard to locate, and absolutely everybody wants it. How do we concisely capture that exact concept using just one single English word? I mean, without the right vocabulary, you might end up rambling through a whole paragraph just to explain that one simple feeling of wanting something you can't easily get. Language is all about efficiency, right? Finding that one perfect word can literally instantly elevate your fluency.
Well, that magic word for today is scarce, S-C-A-R-C-E, scarce. Take a second to mentally pronounce that. It's a fantastic word, and it actually has a slightly sharp sound to it, which kind of perfectly matches its meaning. When you say something is scarce, you're immediately letting your listener know that this isn't something you can just walk outside and trip over. It takes effort, it takes luck, or maybe it takes a whole lot of money to get your hands on. Honestly, adding scarce to your vocabulary toolbox is a massive step towards sounding like a native speaker who knows how to drop complex ideas into everyday conversation.
So, mechanically speaking, scarce functions as an adjective. And as an English learner, you already know an adjective is a describing word. It hooks onto a noun to give us more flavor, more context. In this case, we use scarce to describe something that holds what our source text specifically calls rare value. Like, you wouldn't just casually say, the water is scarce, without implying a pretty serious story behind it. Or if you say good leadership is scarce in this company, you're painting a very clear, definitely critical picture. You're using that adjective to powerfully describe the state of an environment.
Which brings us to this really beautiful, almost poetic phrase directly from our source material, the essence of scarcity. The word essence, of course, refers to the core nature or the absolute most important quality of a thing. So when the text talks about this essence, it's asking us to look deeper. It's asking what happens to human psychology, to our markets, to our everyday choices when something just isn't easily available. It's not just a math problem about supply and demand, it's a fundamental human experience. Let's be real, when things are scarce, we suddenly care about them a whole lot more.
Okay, but what happens when we shift gears a bit? Notice how the word transforms into scarcity. This is the noun form, representing that very essence we were just talking about. Check out the change at the end there. We've dropped the E and added ity. Scarcity. So this is no longer the describing word, this is the thing itself. Think of scarcity as an invisible force. You could say something like, the scarcity of fresh food in the desert is a major problem. Boom. Now scarcity is the actual subject of your sentence. Grasping this lets you talk about big abstract ideas, which is for sure a major milestone in advanced English.
This is a huge pro tip for you language learners out there. Understand how word families work. If we directly compare the describing word scarce with the naming word scarcity, you see how they connect. Scarce is what it is. Scarcity is the state of it. If gold is scarce, then the scarcity of gold is exactly what makes it so crazy expensive. Mastering English is all about recognizing these little patterns. Once you know the adjective, you can usually predict the noun, and vice versa. It's basically getting two vocabulary words for the price of one.
All right, let's pivot for a second and talk about defining rare value. This is where we really get into the nuts and bolts. We've got the grammar down, we know the adjective and the noun, but what is the actual philosophy behind the word? Well, rare value is actually a combination of two very distinct concepts. And here's the catch. They absolutely must exist together at the exact same time for something to be considered scarce. If you drop even one of these elements, the whole word falls apart. Think of it as having two foundational pillars, the aspect of being rare and the aspect of having value. They're two sides of the same coin. As we went through the source material, it became crystal clear that scarce is essentially an equation. Scarce equals rare plus value. Visualizing the word in these two distinct chunks is a total game changer for remembering when to actually use it in a real conversation. So let's break down each of these pillars to see how they hold the whole thing up.
First up, the rare component.
This simply means the item in question is not abundant. You can't easily find it in your environment. There just isn't much of it to go around. I mean, think about grass in a park. That's abundant. Definitely not rare. But a 4-leaf clover hiding in that grass? That is rare. There is a strict physical limitation to its quantity. It's the mathematical side of the word. The supply is remarkably low. But here's the kicker. The second, equally crucial pillar, value. This means the item isn't just missing. It's something highly important that people actually want or need or desire. Think about it this way. Say you find a rock shaped exactly like a bicycle. That's incredibly rare. You're probably never going to find another one. But does it have value? Does anyone desperately need a bicycle rock to survive? Probably not. So that weird rock is rare, but it is not scarce. Scarcity demands that we actually care about the item. Clean drinking water, time, genuine friendships, these have immense value. When they're also hard to find, that's when we hit true scarcity.
So, let's put it all together into a quick 3-step mental checklist you can use in the real world. Step 1. Identify something rare. Just notice that there isn't much of it around. Step 2. Recognize its value. Ask yourself, do people actually want or need this? And step 3, once you've confirmed both of those things, boom, you've successfully understood its scarcity. You can confidently drop the word scarce into your sentence. Honestly, try running everyday things through this little checklist. It's a fantastic exercise to wire this concept right into your brain.
As our source material explicitly requested, our whole goal today was to explain the English word scarce to an audience learning English. We didn't just want to hand you a boring dictionary definition and call it a day. We wanted to verbally pull the word apart into rare and value, look at the grammar engines running it, and put it back together again so you can wield it with total confidence. Understanding the why and how behind a word is literally the best way to make it stick permanently.
Speaking of making it stick, I'm going to leave you with something to chew on right now. What is an example of something scarce in your own life? Is it free time? Is it a specific type of food from your home country? Think about it and try forming a sentence in your head right now using scarce or scarcity. And hey, if you love diving deep into the origins and real-world usage of words today, you have got to check out our companion app, TalkWord. Over on the TalkWord app, you can listen to fascinating podcast-style explanations of absolutely any English word you want to master. It's the perfect way to keep that warm, curious educational momentum going wherever you are. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on TalkWord today. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.